Gouges are the reason hockey crowds are banned from singing Three Blind Mice at the referee. BLA and Yankee Suck are other favorite anthems. The Chowds get it. We know the Yankees don't really suck. They are baseball's elite. The truth be told, any Yankees-Red Sox rivalry talk is a misnomer. Other similar rivalries to Yankees versus Red Sox. Lion versus Antelope. Dad Sedan versus Jackass wannabe team. Ali versus Quarry. The Jungle versus the Brick House. And on the topic of the show, this is only my first year. I wish I could have been jumped in sooner. I listened to the show for the following reasons. The pimp's takes, the interviews, the faxes, and the fact that the pimp lets me get off on a national forum. The fact alone that any two-legged mammal with even a rotary dialer can break off a take in this jungle means you are getting over already. Don't take the pimp for granted. Dude worked his life for this. Dude came down with an ulcer at the age of 24 due to stress. If you can't relate with the host because he's achieved and you haven't. Oliver Stone parodied Rome with the worst sports movie ever made, Any Boring Sunday. A 2.5-hour waste of Al Pacino and Cameron Diaz. He wasted his shot to punk Romy because by the time you see the movie's pseudo-pimp character, half the theater was sleeping or trying to sneak into another movie. You know, last night I was trying to cast a mental picture of what the jungle might sound like without the host, without the famous guests, without the faxes and emails, and without my takes. It wouldn't be a very appealing sound. I love trouble. For a few clones, I hate you all a-holes on the street. I avoid you at any cost. You were lined up to piss on my debut. Your prize will be a leg and a boot. Barking March in Buffalo. Just the fact alone that you chose Flutie to run Smack-On makes you look like the no-take wonder you are. I can't wait for you to break out with some Lance Armstrong or Eric Davis smack. You know, the only way you can win this thing is if you call it a cell phone while barrel-jumping Niagara. But you can't do it, buddy. Before Hassick arrived, Buffalo's greatest athlete was Bob McAdoo. Look how that turned out. The only thing Buffalo has over Kraft Chester is a chicken wing recipe that you didn't actually invent. When Dan Rather still has facilities in order, his most famous quote was, Americans will put up with anything provided it doesn't block traffic. Which brings me to the Palm pilot, Jeffrey in Phoenix. Jeffrey being chucked a bird by other drivers on a greasy car phone somewhere in the valley. Jeffrey is living proof that of all the clones, with nothing to add, maybe 10% of them decide not to call. The next time I care what another clone does for work will be the first time. You waste time with your Wall Street delusions while giving us Walmart takes, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, cough up a buck and send Rome a free fruit basket instead of making us yawn while you endanger other Valley transients, residents in your car phone, calling up to tell me you can't feel the pain of Celtic fan. Tell me something, buddy. Walter Davis, Jason Kidd, and you are the biggest yellow red bastards in Maricopa County. When you get clever and want to throw a Jody Foster reset look on the map, the Big Dance Ray Trial...
That in the background!
Not Fall River. Fall River is the place where 100 years ago...
Jim, what is that? What is that animal in the background?
She was Lizzie Borden, and the house now is an historically...
Unbelievable! That was amazing. All right, we're trying to make sense of this. It was an unbelievable call. I don't know what the farm animal was in the background. It sounded like a cow or a donkey. I was trying to find out what it was. Truth be told, I didn't really want to buzz him. Whitey just couldn't take anymore and just dropped the hammer. I was trying to get a sense of what exactly was in the background. If it was a donkey or a cow or otherwise. And then when I tried to find out what it was, he just kept going. He wasn't going to hear it. That was classic. I'll have to get a judging from the, or a ruling from the judge. I don't know that he actually got run. But we'll have to get a ruling from the judge on that one. That was, without question, one of the most peculiar smack-off calls ever. Everybody wants to know. What was it? Dear Jim, back away from that donkey. That was a classic. All right, we're going to come out, and the judges are going to issue a ruling. Did he get run or not? The first controversy of the smack-off. Yes, some great lines. Some classic smack. And a donkey. All right, we'll get the judge's ruling when we come back. That was Jim in Fall River. You're in the jungle. The smack-off continues. More telephone calls when we return. That was one for the ages. That was a smack-off call for the ages, and still nobody's really sure what it was. The subject on this is, get this freak out of there. Jesus, Jim. Tell Trapper to shut up back there. Let him out of the closet. The subject of that one is, oh God, stop the slaughter. Jerome, can't Jim tell Chewbacca to shut the hell up and drive the Falcon while he's on the phone? Jim, who was raping the donkey in the same room with Jim from Fall River? My God. Who was raping the donkey in the same room? Dear Jim, what is going on? Is Jim killing a giraffe in the background? What is that hideous sound? Please, make it stop. Patrick in Denver. Dear Jim, what the hell was Chewbacca doing in the background? Was he giving birth? Dear Jim, what was a freaking dog doing in the background of Jim in Fall River's house? Damn it, Jim. He has not only finished his call this year, he did an excellent job. Dear Jim in Fall River, please tell your wife to be quiet in the background. Subject, shut up. And tell your wife in the background to shut up, you stupid child. That was wild. That was wild. Those were all great, but my favorite one was, who's raping the donkey in the same room as Jim in Fall River's call? Oh, man, that was wild.